I remember the first time she said it. My body, my rules. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't even angry. She just smirked, like she was delivering a line she'd been rehearsing in her head. I didn't reply then. Maybe that was my mistake. Thinking silence would keep the peace. I'm Daniel. I'm 39, and for most of my marriage I thought I was the problem solver. If something broke, I fixed it. If something hurt, I absorbed it. My wife, Claire, used to say that's what she loved about me. Steady, reliable, calm. But steadiness can start to feel like furniture to someone who wants excitement. We'd been married 11 years. The last 2 were gray. Not black, not white, just dull, quiet gray. We used to talk about everything. Then our conversations shrank to logistics. Bills, groceries, and her constant, "I'm tired." At first I thought it was work stress. She'd started a new marketing job, long hours, demanding clients. I told myself to be patient, but the patience started to feel like invisibility. Nights passed where we'd sit on opposite sides of the couch, both scrolling our phones, pretending we were fine. The shift happened gradually. Hugs became side-shoulder pats. Kisses became pecks that missed the lips. Touch became negotiation. And when I tried to bring it up, she laughed it off. "You're always thinking about one thing, Daniel." "No, I'm thinking about us," I'd say. "Same thing," she'd reply, eyes already back on her screen. The first time she dropped the line, "My body, my rules," was after I'd reached for her hand one night. I wasn't even thinking intimacy, just contact. She pulled away like my touch burned. Then she smiled that cold little smile and said it. It echoed in my head for days. Not because of what she said, but how easily she said it. Like we weren't even a couple anymore, just 2 legal entities under one roof. I started noticing how she spent more. Designer bags, salon visits every week, brunches with new coworkers. When I mentioned the credit card balance, she rolled her eyes. "Daniel, don't start. I make my own money too." She did, but she also liked mine. The mortgage, utilities, vacations, all on my paycheck. I never minded, until that night she sneered when I asked if we could talk about what was happening between us. "Nothing's happening," she said, pouring wine. "You're overthinking again." That's when I realized she wasn't just tired. She was done. 2 months later, the distance turned to silence. No more dinners together. She'd come home late, lock herself in the guest room to get some rest. I kept trying. I cooked her favorite meals. I left notes. I asked if she wanted therapy. She laughed. "You think a therapist can make me attracted to you again?" That one hurt. But I didn't argue. I just nodded and walked away. Some nights I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, trying to pinpoint the exact moment we went from lovers to strangers. Was it the promotion she got? Was it when I stopped surprising her? Or maybe it was when I let her believe she could keep taking without ever giving back. Then came the argument that changed everything. It was about a weekend trip she wanted with her friends, 5-star hotel, spa, shopping spree. She expected me to cover it, like always. I checked our accounts and told her maybe she should use her own card this time. She turned from the mirror, lipstick half done, and smirked again. "My body, my rules. Don't touch me. Don't question me. And definitely don't tell me how to spend my time." I stood there for a moment, feeling that sentence cut deeper than any shout could. Something in me went still. "All right," I said quietly. "My money, my rules. Don't ask me." She froze. The lipstick tube slipped from her hand and hit the counter with a sharp clack. "What's that supposed to mean?" she asked. "It means the same thing you just said. Boundaries, right? Yours and mine." Her eyes narrowed. "You're being petty." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I'm just finally learning from you." For the first time in months, I saw something other than indifference in her eyes. It wasn't love, but it wasn't boredom either. It was disbelief, maybe even fear that the balance had shifted. She left for that trip anyway, charging half of it before realizing her card declined. I'd already adjusted the accounts. When she came back, the house was quieter than usual. She tried to act normal, but the silence had weight now, different from before. It wasn't my silence trying to keep peace. It was hers trying to process that the rules had changed. Claire didn't mention the money right away. For a week, she acted like nothing happened. She made small talk about work, about how her friends were jealous she had such a chill husband. But her tone had shifted, less confident, more cautious. I think she expected me to cave. I always had before. But this time, I didn't chase the conversation. I didn't ask about her day. I didn't fill the silence. I just went on with my routines, calm and consistent. The tension finally broke one Sunday morning. She walked into the kitchen holding her credit card statement like it was evidence. "Did you really cut off my access?" she asked. "Yes. You can't just do that." "I can," I said, keeping my voice even. "My money, my rules, remember?" She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man in front of her. Maybe she didn't. I'd spent years being agreeable, trying to keep us whole. Now, I wasn't angry, I was just done being dismissed. "This is childish, Daniel." "No," I said, setting down my coffee. "Childish is thinking you can say whatever you want without consequences. Adult is taking responsibility for the rules you set." She looked like she wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she stormed off, muttering something about me punishing her. Maybe I was, in a way. But it wasn't revenge, it was balance. Over the next few weeks, something strange happened. She started noticing things. The groceries didn't magically restock. The house wasn't as spotless. The little gestures she'd stopped appreciating, like her car being fueled or the sink fixed, suddenly mattered again. One night, she came into the living room while I was reading. She lingered near the doorway, arms crossed. "Are you seriously going to keep this up? What's that? This attitude, acting like I'm some roommate." I looked up from the book. "We've been roommates for a long time, Claire. I'm just finally acknowledging it." That silenced her. She didn't have a comeback because deep down, she knew it was true. She started trying after that, at least on the surface. She'd cook dinner, sit beside me, make small talk. But it all felt rehearsed, like she was trying to reset things without ever saying sorry. And I realized something important. I didn't want the version of her that came back out of convenience. I wanted the woman who used to laugh at my stupid jokes, who would grab my hand first, who saw me, not just my paycheck. That woman was gone. A month later, she suggested counseling. Not because she wanted to fix us, but because she wanted to feel like she'd done everything before quitting. I agreed, mostly out of curiosity. The therapist asked us both one question in the first session. "What do you want from this marriage?" Claire went first. She said she wanted space, independence, and respect. Then it was my turn. "I want peace," I said. The therapist nodded. "Peace together or peace apart? Whichever gives me back my self-respect." The session ended quietly after that. Claire didn't speak on the drive home. That night, she packed a small bag and slept in the guest room again. A few days later, she sent me a text from upstairs. Not even a call, not a conversation, just a message. "Maybe we should separate for a while. I need to figure out what I want." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. Understood. No begging. No anger. Just the same word she'd once used to end so many of our discussions. The next morning, she was gone. Her side of the closet looked like a clean wound, empty and precise. There was no note, no drama, just the echo of what used to be. And here's the truth no one tells you about endings like this. They don't come with relief at first. They come with silence that hums like electricity, with ghosts that sit across the breakfast table even when no one's there. But eventually, that silence turns peaceful. A few months passed. I learned how to cook for one, how to sleep without reaching for someone who wasn't really there anyway. I saw friends again, traveled a bit, even picked up guitar like I'd always wanted. Then one evening, as I sat on the porch watching the sun dip behind the trees, I realized something simple but powerful. She'd taught me my last lesson. Not the one she intended, but one I needed. When she said, "My body, my rules," she thought she was claiming freedom. What she didn't understand was that freedom goes both ways. It's not control, it's consequence. And in the end, she didn't lose a man who wanted to own her. She lost a man who had stopped trying to understand why she needed to hurt him to feel powerful. So when people ask what happened, I tell them the truth. I didn't leave because she stopped loving me. I left because she stopped respecting me. And between love without respect and solitude with peace, peace wins every time.